It's another Earth Science video with Norris Teaches Science with me, Mr. Norris. We're going to continue talking about the lithosphere, and today we're going to talk about types of volcanoes. So the goal of this video is I can explain the general structure of volcanoes and how the structure changes between the types of volcanoes. So first off, what is a volcano? A volcano is a mountain formed of lava and or pyroclastic material. We break down this word, you see pyro here. Pyro just means, fire. So it's stuff that was on fire or hot or anything that comes out of a volcano. And you can kind of see over here, here's some volcanoes erupting. So the anatomy of volcano, there's a couple things you need to know about. You have the vent, which is an opening in the crust. It could be at the top or on the side. Those are vents. You have the crater, which is a steep wall depression at the top, usually where most of the eruption comes out, but sometimes it can come out of a side vent. The magma chamber, this is where the molten rock or the magma waits. And then you got the magma tube that connects the vent in the magma chamber. If we look here, this is a good video. If you want to pause it, I would sketch out so you know where things are. Here's your crater. Here's your vent. These are called side vents over here because they're not the main vent. They sometimes form just when there's a weakness in where magma can travel. This whole thing here is the magma tube. Down at the bottom, this is the magma chamber or the magma reservoir. And you can see that a volcano builds upon each eruption. There's some other stuff too that you can see, like the ash cloud. You can see there's things, there's features, igneous features that form when magma cuts across different layers of soil. But this is the composition of a volcano. Now, volcano types. Volcano types are determined by the material that formed the volcano and the type of eruption that occurs with the volcano. So there are three types: a shield volcano, a cinder-cone volcano, and a composition or composite volcano. You can see pictures up here of kind of cartoonish how they would look. But let's talk about each one of them. So a shield volcano, they're broad. They have gently sloping sides. They're going to look more like a very mountain that's not very steep. You could hike up it if you wanted to. They're produced by lava flows, and they're mainly composed of basalt. They're very circular in their base. When they erupt, in the sense of the other ones, they have a little explosive eruption. They can't, lava can sometimes shoot up, but sometimes you're not going to get the picture of a volcano erupting in your mind if you look at a shield volcano. In the Hawaiian Islands, they are going to have the more of a shield volcano, their shield thing. The whole island is the volcano, but you can kind of see where the major summit and the crater is. Mauna Loa, I can't even say the other names. These are really hard names for me to say, but the Hawaiian Islands are shield volcanoes. You have cinder-cone volcanoes. These are very steep-sided, small in size. They're built from the pyroclastic material. There's only one vent, and they don't have extreme eruptions, but they don't have quiet eruptions. They're kind of in the middle of the eruption thing. It just depends on how much pressure builds up and the eruption factors. And we're going to talk about that in another video. So I'm going to butcher this name. The Izalco volcano in El Salvador. That would be a cinder-cone volcano. And then you got your composite volcano, but sometimes people call it a stratovolcano. I know I have volcano up there twice. They're very large and they're very symmetrical. When you think of a volcano, you think of these types of volcanoes. They have some of the most violent eruptions. And they're one of the most dangerous types of volcanoes out there. Mount St. Helens in the United States, in Washington State, that was a composite or a stratovolcano when it erupted. Sometimes this thing called a pyroclastic flow comes off of these things. It's hot um, cloud of ash and fire running down the slope. If you caught in it, you're doomed. Another one would be Vesuvius. Vesuvius would be which is destroyed Pompeii. That will be a stratovolcano as well. But there's a lot of volcanoes out in the world. I suggest you go look up some of these. There's some history behind a lot of them. We won't get into the idea of something called a super volcano, or in a super eruption in this series. That's something that you're going to have to learn the basics first before you learn about that. But if you want to know more about that, you can go over to Google. But I hope you learned something today. This is Mr. Norris, and I am signing out of this video.